Alright, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to another video here on the channel, and today we're going to continue to call out YouTube and put more pressure on them. So, just a few days ago I made a video called YouTube Screwed Markiplier and It Affects Us All. This was a little bit, I guess, of a follow-up to my video also talking about CoryxKenshin, who came out and exposed YouTube for potential racism and favoritism when it comes to the appeal process and everything else. To give you a little backstory with the Markiplier thing, basically YouTube was hosting the Game On event, which basically was supposed to feature a bunch of gaming creators, and Markiplier himself was heavily featured in the advertising for this whole thing. He was clearly supposed to be in it, but of course he stood up for CoryxKenshin and uploaded his try not to get age restricted challenge video. TLDR, YouTube basically cut out Markiplier's portion of the Game On event video and didn't really provide a reason why, didn't provide any explanation or let him know ahead of time that that was what was going to happen. In my opinion, pretty screwed up decision. In a lot of people's opinion, it was a pretty screwed up decision. There is almost 40,000 likes on that video, and now other YouTubers, including myself, have basically been calling out YouTube for the last, I don't know, couple days or so based on everything that's been going on, based on the potential favoritism in the review systems, the nonsensical decisions that this company makes in general. Basically, if you're a YouTube hater or a YouTube critic, it's been a pretty good couple of days for you, because this is a really good topic to hang on to, because realistically, I think it kind of builds onto and adds onto the other situations that have unfolded, the other unfortunate circumstances that a lot of other creators have had to deal with. And this has been a pretty big example of YouTube actually doing something to major creators, which for a while is something that was kind of unthought of. You know, if you were like a major creator on YouTube, you were seen as having some sort of like impunity to the situations that YouTube would have. Of course, that's not really the case. We've seen that with this situation and with others, of course, but this one has been the main focus over the last few days. So Jacksepticeye today posted a pretty good video called The YouTube Issues Get Worse, and in this video, Jacksepticeye calls out YouTube for more of the nonsense that's been going on. So we're going to react to that today, and I'm going to add my 2 cents onto the video, and basically, I'm going to help them call out YouTube, because if the creators as a community do not come together and support one another, there's really no support at all. I mean, YouTube as a platform does not support creators the way that they need to be supported. That is literally the key issue behind this entire topic. YouTube does not support creators in the proper ways, and in fact, I would argue that they actually suppress creators in ways that shouldn't be done. So we're going to react to Jacksepticeye's points here, and we're going to add on to it and talk about it. So let's go ahead and get right into the video. Before we do that, I want to remind you, YouTube has actually unsubscribed 3,000 people from my channel over the last few days for quote-unquote inactivity. If you want to continue to be updated and notified when there's new Optimus content out, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below and turn on your notifications. Also, leave a like to help this video in the algorithm. Maybe let me know what you think down in the comments below as well. With that being said, let's jump into the video.
Okay, I'll give context on the video because I did in the last one, but in case you don't know, I recorded the eye tracker video, obviously with the intent of kind of like pushing the boundaries of what the system was going to allow. That wasn't the whole point of the video in the first place. I just wanted to see what I could do and then make it a fun video and kind of like react to the salacious stuff in it and make it entertaining that way. But we had to censor it so much because it kept coming back saying that it was flagged and it was not suitable for advertisers. And I was like, you know what, that's absolutely fair. There's a lot of like nudity in it. I had to censor a lot of it. A lot of it is still implied. So there was a lot of stuff in it that I knew. I was even like willing to bite the bullet on it and say, okay, maybe we'll just upload this video and not have it be monetizable, and it'll just be a fun video that people can watch. But we kept trying anyway, and then one day Trey was working on an edit of it to try and get some more censors in it to see what we could get away with, and I was just like, you know what, let me appeal this one first. And then when I appealed it, 2 days went by and it came back and it said it was manually reviewed and that it was given the green light. So it got the green icon instead of the yellow one, meaning it was suitable for advertisers. And I thought, okay, great. It seems like the system itself auto-flagged some stuff and triggered the yellow icon, and then someone manually reviewed it, supposedly a human at YouTube, and were like, yeah, there's enough censors in this, you can get away with it. And then it was greenlit. And then I uploaded the video and called it the Try Not to Get Age Restricted challenge. Since then, it hasn't been age restricted, but it did get flagged again.
Alright, so I know that's a little bit of a long clip, I apologize for that, but honestly, I didn't want to cut the context out of what Jacksepticeye was saying here. So essentially, you know, he was working on a similar video, right, with a lot of nudity, a lot of these issues and whatnot that actually ended up getting Markiplier and a lot of other YouTubers, I guess, in trouble, right? So the issue is, he appealed it, and it was apparently manually reviewed, which means that, like, a human jumps in, right? Because YouTube, a lot of these automated systems are in place to basically make sure, you know, they can't have, like, hundreds of thousands of people watching every video on YouTube, right? So the video was manually reviewed, and it was actually greenlit. They said, you know what, this video is monetizable, it's good, you know, not gonna get age restricted. But then of course, after the video goes live and everything, it ends up getting flagged again, which is a major issue with YouTube. In my opinion, the moment that it's humanly reviewed and it's switched to green, right? So if I upload a video and it gets reviewed and they say, you know what, Optimus, this video is good, you're getting it monetized, you're gonna be okay, no age restriction, and it's done by a human, that should be the final say. That should be the end of it. You have a legitimate YouTube representative / employee who has stepped in on behalf of the automated systems, which can get situations wrong. I mean, it's a robot. It's not going to have 100% accuracy. But you have a YouTube employee step in and say, yes, this video's fine, it's monetizable, it's not age restricted. That should be the final say. There shouldn't be this system in place where you can manually review a video and you can tell me that it's okay. Then after I upload it and put it out there, all of a sudden you want to reverse your decision and you want to flag it again? That is a ridiculous system. That is actually insane. There needs to be some sort of level of double jeopardy law kind of in place for YouTube. Not like literally a law, but like there needs to be a rule in place that prevents this double jeopardy kind of situation. They shouldn't be able to basically try you on the same thing repeatedly and then just keep reversing their decisions back and forward. That doesn't make sense. And honestly, it's not good for creators because you're sending a bunch of mixed messages. You're on one hand telling people like Jacksepticeye, hey, this video's fine, you're good. Then you're telling another creator, your video's age restricted. And then, you know, you flip-flop between these decisions and act like, you know, it's just something that you can kind of waffle on like this, when realistically it's not. Like, you're playing with people's livelihoods, you know? I know a lot of you don't feel bad for these YouTubers with 30 million subscribers because they're already multi-millionaires, but at the end of the day, man, they have staff to pay, they have people that they've rostered in order to help them with their content. These people deserve paid too. And this, honestly, takes away from their paychecks. It takes away from people's livelihoods. You know, people are running legitimate operations here on YouTube. You should not be able to flip-flop your decision like this and constantly provide this sort of uncertainty on your platform.
And I think what's happening, which I mentioned in the last video, is that users flagging videos can be abused really easily. I said it before that the Corridor Digital channel got hacked and then they got mass reported for being hacked because the audience wanted YouTube to know, hey, it's hacked, can you give it back to them? But what ends up happening then is that the system is like, oh, it's mass reported, something's going on, removes the whole channel. And I wondered how abusive that could be. And another good example of this is that Evelyn uploaded the mortuary assistant. It got flagged for the self-harm sort of themes that were in it, as did I. But after that, I think because users were flagging videos a lot, she started getting emails from YouTube being like, are you okay? Are you self-harming? Are you suicidal? Things like that. So
essentially, Jacksepticeye's point is he thinks that the flagging systems on YouTube might have low-key been abused, maybe. They could have been, you know, just triggered, I guess, because, like, a bunch of people, like, flagged the video, right? Which obviously would be a major issue and flaw with YouTube to begin with. I mean, I can't imagine that there should ever be a system in place so abusable that it can literally ruin the outcome of people's content. Once again, this is our jobs. This is our livelihoods. I understand that, you know, the flagging systems and stuff are there for a reason. People should be allowed to report content on YouTube, but there needs to be some sort of, I guess, check in place to make sure that automated systems aren't just acting on behalf of a bunch of bad faith actors that are simply pressing a button because, I don't know, they don't like the video or they don't like the creator. I can think of so many different ways that can be abused and used against people, and that should not be the case. This is a multi-billion-dollar platform. They have hundreds of thousands of potential employees that they could have to fix issues like this and make sure it doesn't happen. But yet, instead of fixing these problems and providing legitimate answers and, you know, solutions to these problems, they don't communicate with creators. And if they do, it's because of situations like this where a bunch of people can just spam report a video and the next thing you know, YouTube's stepping in, hey, are you good? Is there an issue or whatever? Like, people's channels shouldn't be getting deleted simply because a bunch of people have reported that it's been hacked. There should be people at YouTube ready to step in on behalf of these situations and handle these. In a platform like YouTube, actual real-life human beings will always be more valuable than the automated system in terms of getting the right answer like this. Is the automated system always wrong? No. But when it's wrong, it's so wrong that it causes legitimate problems for the platform. I don't know if this is something that can be solved, but at the end of the day, it's something that needs to be addressed by YouTube a little bit better than how it has been.
And said, actually, that's not necessary, which means two people in that department, if it was two separate people, didn't talk to each other, or it was the same person again and they got flack for users flagging it, and then they were like, oh crap, I need to actually flag this again. It just doesn't make sense to me. There's a whole mess of like hierarchy and communication and everything going on in that chain of command that just doesn't make any sense. And it seems like that's the problem at YouTube in general, is that the policy team don't talk to the marketing team, don't talk to the reps. Like, there's so many different departments going on because it's a massive machine of an industry that they're doing. And I get that as well, but there needs to be more communication on their end, so then we get better communication.
This is the point that people like me have been making for years. YouTube is a massive company. Like I said, it's a multi-billion-dollar organization. Let's not get that wrong. But at the end of the day, that doesn't excuse the poor communication and the poor results of what they do when they handle situations. Yes, they do have a bunch of teams. If you don't know, YouTube is split up into teams. There's teams that handle all kinds of different things. There's teams that work on the website, teams that test and add new features, teams that monitor social media platforms. There's teams that handle direct representation with creators. They have a bunch of different teams, and you know, most companies of that size do different things and have different functions inside of the company. But at the end of the day, if the people within this community are not getting the adequate amount of communication back from this company, how can they expect for us to be on top of our game? And at the same time, if there's not enough communication between the teams at YouTube, how is the platform going to function at its full capacity, right? If every team isn't in direct communication at some point with other teams inside of the company to, you know, handle these issues and, you know, make features and parts of the website better, how can we expect YouTube to get any better? This is the problem that I and a lot of other creators have. At the end of the day, we just want some communication. We just want some validation of our problems from YouTube, and for them to admit that there's fault and that they can fix it and hopefully do fix it. But instead of getting that, we get a bunch of silence from YouTube on these issues, and you have to have 30 million subscriber channels like Jacksepticeye jump into this and give his experience in order for YouTube to even get called out adequately. That's the problem with YouTube. So I didn't react to all of Jacksepticeye's video. It is a 17-minute video. I didn't want to, you know, make a 45-minute long video reacting to his video. Honestly, I really recommend you give Jacksepticeye's video a watch after this one. I think that's probably best because he makes a lot of great points and he adds a lot more that unfortunately I simply couldn't cover in this video. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you did enjoy, make sure to leave a like, subscribe if you're brand new around here on the channel, follow me over on Twitter and Twitch at @SubTheOptimus. Make sure to check out Optimus down below. And until my next video, guys, this is Optimus, agreeing with Jacksepticeye and calling out YouTube as well, and signing out.